What happens when you combine the crisp hands of Western boxing, the hard conditioning of Kyokushin Karate with the bone-shattering low kicks of Muay Thai, and then you wrap it up in relentless forward pressure? You get Dutch Kickboxing. Welcome to Pro Striking, and in this video we're breaking down exactly why this brutal system turns fighters into machines, the history, the style and the training method. Let's start the breakdown by going back to the beginning. The origins.
Really whack him. Boom! And then knock him out.
The roots of Dutch kickboxing trace back to the mid-1970s when three martial artists, Jan Plas, Peter van der Hemel and Jan van Leuven, set out to evolve their fighting style. Excuse me for any mispronunciations. All three were karate black belts under John Blooming, the man known as the godfather of MMA, who opened the first Kyokushin Karate dojo in Holland and went on to create a system, Kyokushin Budokai, which was one of the earliest mixed martial arts styles, blending full contact karate, judo and ground fighting.
John Blooming has a fearsome reputation as a fighter, both in the dojo and on the street.
In 1975, the trio travelled to Japan, hoping to train under Tai-Chi-Ken master Kenshi Sawa. But after being shut out of these lessons and then later expelled from Mas Oyama's Kyokushin dojo for intervening in a hazing incident, they were left adrift in Tokyo. That's when fate stepped in. While wandering the city, they stumbled upon posters for a kickboxing event. There, they met Toshio Fujiwara, Japan's Muay Thai kickboxing champion, and he was the first foreigner to win the Lumpini title. He was a student of Kenji Kurosaki, the man who had fused Kyokushin Karate with Muay Thai to form Japanese kickboxing. Fujiwara invited the Dutchman to train at Kurosaki's Majiro gym. At 5 AM every morning, they'd run 10 kilometers through Tokyo streets before grinding through hours of kickboxing drills, sparring with champions like Fujiwara and Mitsuo Shima. Under Kurosaki, they learned devastating new techniques, clinches, throws and crucially, the low kick, a powerful shin attack to the opponent's thigh, which would become a signature of Dutch kickboxing. Without smartphones or video cameras, the trio meticulously recorded every technique by hand. When they returned to the Netherlands, they spread this knowledge. Jan Plas opened the now legendary Majiro gym in Amsterdam. Peter van der Hemel taught at Johan Voss's gym, and Jan van Leuven brought his skills to Blooming's dojo and even trained Dutch Marines and police forces. At the same time, Tom Harink founded the Chakariki gym, blending boxing, savate and Muay Thai. The rivalry between Majiro and Chakariki fueled relentless progress, sharpening Dutch fighters into some of the best in the world.
Yeah, you know, we're a small country, but I think honestly the level is high because there was two gyms in Holland. You had Majiro gym and Chakariki, and the trainer Jan Plas, he respect his guy, but we had so much fights each other like two football clubs, Ajax, Feyenoord, that was a real war. And our trainers pushed the boys to be the best of all.
In the late 70s and early 80s, Dutch fighters travelled to Thailand's Lumpini Stadium to test their skills. They lost, but instead of retreating, they adapted, mastering elbows, clinch work and Thai tactics. And by the 1990s, Dutch fighters were beating Thai champions on their own soil, and none more famous than the Diamond. Raymond Dekkers was one of the most influential fighters in bridging the gap between Dutch kickboxing and traditional Muay Thai. His technical skills, combined with his relentless drive, turned him into one of the most respected fighters globally. Dekkers showcased the power and effectiveness of the Dutch style, the explosive, hard-hitting combinations and the incredible conditioning. His willingness to fight in Thailand against the Muay Thai fighters proved the Dutch method could stand up to the traditional Thai fighting style. Raymond Dekkers changed the game forever, and you can check out the in-depth Raymond Dekker breakdown on the Pro Striking YouTube channel. One of the defining characteristics of Dutch kickboxing is the low, wide stance that fighters maintain, ensuring a strong base. This stance offers balance and stability, allowing fighters to launch powerful attacks, whether with their hands or legs, while remaining grounded to hit hard and to move. The stance maximises power generation. The Dutch style of defence is basic but highly effective. Unlike some styles that emphasise intricate head movements or evasive footwork, Dutch fighters prefer a more straightforward defence. This includes using the high guard to defend against boxing, as well as using the arms and forearms to defend against kicks. The beauty is in its simplicity, and fighters like Marek Grigorian rarely deviate from a high guard as a defence, meaning he's always in position to counter. He can crowd his opponents with this watertight guard and force them to move backward. Marek has to be one of the best pressure fighters kickboxing has ever seen. He lives behind the high guard and melts his opponents with pressure. I don't believe he has ever been dropped or finished in over 80 fights. Here we see him against K1 legend Andy Sauer, but we see Grigorian using a strong stance and high guard to push Sauer to the cage wall. He is stubborn with his approach and will rarely take a backward step. He's confident he will eventually get to his opponent. In boxing, head movement is a foundational defensive tactic. Fighters slip, weave and roll to avoid punches, but in kickboxing, especially in styles like Muay Thai and Dutch kickboxing, the presence of kicks changes the equation entirely. Head movement lowers your posture, often bringing the head closer to the incoming knees or high kicks. A slip that might have avoided a jab in boxing could move a fighter into a shin. Hands leaving the face to parry or feint exposes the head to high kicks, particularly round kicks that come around the side of the guard. A brief lapse in defence can result in a knockout. Evasive defence, like slipping, leaning, weaving, requires excellent timing and reflexes. In a sport where attacks come from all levels with the punches, kicks and knees, one wrong read can be disastrous. And for this reason, Dutch fighters prefer a high guard, minimal head movement and blocking based defences that keep them balanced and ready to counter. The counter back is a crucial aspect of their style. When it comes to defending kicks, Dutch fighters will rely on the arms and even taking low kicks to the thigh. Not lifting your legs to check a kick has the advantage of keeping both feet on the floor and enabling a fighter to counter back quickly with the hands, as well as a fighter being braced to absorb the impact. Defence in Dutch kickboxing is all about maintaining the ability to counter back. By absorbing punches or kicks with minimal movement, fighters stay within range and allow themselves to immediately fire back. This aggressive defence enables constant pressure, preventing the opponent from taking control of the fight. A key tool in the Dutch pressure system is the use of knees to split the guard. Fighters throw flurries of punches into body kicks or low kicks, drawing their opponent into a tight high guard, and then they pierce that guard with powerful high knees and scissor knees. These are not random strikes but deliberate attacks on a defensive habit, exploiting moments when the opponent is bracing or static. This is why you'll often see Dutch fighters flying through the air, with legends like Remy Bojanski, famous for such feats.
And that is the liver shot that finished the fight and that broke his liver.
The liver shot is very famous in Holland and made iconic by Dutch legend Bas Rutten. It is another cornerstone of the style. It exemplifies the philosophy of Dutch kickboxing: maximum efficiency, maximum damage. Going to the body is not just a way to score points, it's a strategic assault designed to sap an opponent's energy, diminish their explosiveness and lower their guard. The liver, nestled just under the right ribcage, is a critical target. A well-placed liver shot can end a fight instantly, and even when it doesn't, it steadily chips away at the opponent's ability to fight back effectively. Another hallmark of Dutch kickboxing is their use of multi-level combinations, head, body, leg, delivered in long flowing sequences. A classic Dutch combo might start across the head, dig a hook into the liver and then finish with a chopping low kick. You'll often see fighters going to the leg early and then bringing up a high kick later in the bout. The same with the left hook to the head and then going left hook to the body. It's not just about throwing volume, it's about throwing with purposeful variety, cycling through different zones to break down the opponent's defence from every angle. A classic Dutch combination is the head, body, leg sequence, which exemplifies the multi-level targeting central to the style. The major downside to this style is it can often be one note, predictable, and as it's reliant on boxing, fighters can struggle to close the distance against elite Thai fighters who control the range with teeps and roundhouse kicks. The main battle for a Dutch stylist is getting past the legs, cutting off the ring effectively and being quick with the counters. Dealing with the clinch and knees is obviously a problem, especially when it transitions to Muay Thai. Even with clinch prohibited in a lot of kickboxing rule sets, it can be used to tie up opponents and force a referee intervention to restart the action. This slows down the pace of the bout and can prevent a Dutch style puncher from getting into a rhythm. Dutch kickboxing training methods. We'll start off with give and take drills. One of the defining features of Dutch kickboxing training is the emphasis on give and take drills, a hallmark approach seen in gyms across the Netherlands and now worldwide. Unlike many traditional styles where pad work requires a dedicated coach, Dutch training relies heavily on partner-based drilling, making training more efficient and consistent for everyone in the gym. Rather than waiting their turn for a coach to hold pads, fighters use their gloves as both a target and striking tools. One athlete attacks while the other partner holds a solid guard, or lightly feeds gloves as targets, then immediately switches roles. This creates a rhythm of mutual development, combining technical repetition with aggressive intent. The benefits of this method are numerous. 1. Everyone trains continuously, so no downtime waiting for pad holders. Drills can scale from basic to highly complex combinations. Footwork, defence and countering are easily layered in, and repetition builds real-time sharpness and ingrains fighting habits under pressure. Give and take drills don't just develop technique, they simulate the pressure and rhythm of a real fight. The volume, aggression and back and forth flow help athletes build both skills and resilience, as well as the famous conditioning from Kyokushin Karate. Padwork. There's a common misconception that Dutch fighters don't emphasise padwork, but that's not entirely true. While it's accurate that some gyms lean more on the partner drills, many Dutch gyms still integrate padwork regularly, just with a different approach than seen in traditional Muay Thai. Due to the differences in rules and scoring, Dutch padwork tends to focus on volume and forward pressure. You'll often see long, boxing-heavy combinations ending in powerful low kicks or high kicks. This is a sharp contrast to the slower, more single-shot based rhythm of Thai padwork. I would say the key trait of Dutch padwork is set-piece combinations practiced at a high pace and intensity. This form of padwork mirrors the Dutch fighting style: high output, layered attacks and forward pressure. Bag work, conditioning through impact. The heavy bag is another crucial part of the Dutch training system. With such a physical, high-volume style, conditioning becomes just as important as technique. Dutch fighters typically work with both swinging and stationary bags, each serving a different purpose. The swinging bags help with rhythm, footwork and adjusting angles, and the heavy and movable bags are ideal for power development and shin conditioning, especially the sandfield types that deaden nerves and toughen the body for impact. Bag work is not just about cardio or technique, it's about building the ability to throw hard, absorb force and repeat under fatigue. That's vital for a style where pressure is the weapon. Last but not least, hard sparring. Dutch gyms are known for sparring hard and often, with sessions designed to closely mimic the pace and chaos of a real fight. This style of sparring develops mental toughness, some timing under fire, and true fight readiness. However, this style comes with serious risks. In light of emerging research around CTE and brain trauma, many now question the long-term effects of repeated hard sparring. In boxing, a more established sport in the West, sparring intensity often hits 90 to 100%, though fighters in boxing tend to spend more time on head movement, defensive angles and positioning. Dutch kickboxing often favours a more direct, square stance, less head movement due to the threat of kicks and knees, and a high guard as the default defence. This means fighters take more shots even when blocking. The style is more attritional, and only the toughest can really endure. It weeds out those who just can't hang. Whether one agrees with this approach or not, it's undeniable. The Dutch system produces aggressive, durable fighters with killer instinct. Athletes built in the crucible of hard training, constant pressure, and a no-nonsense environment. However, it could be said that these fighters have shorter careers and can end up getting knocked out in fights repeatedly. Dutch kickboxing isn't just a style, it's a philosophy. From give and take drills to power-focused bag work and intense sparring, it's a training system designed to produce pressure fighters, technical brawlers and relentless competitors. Whether or not it's for everyone, it creates fighters who are not just prepared to fight, they're built to dominate. Whether you're a fan or a fighter, a coach, understanding Dutch kickboxing means understanding the art of pressure, control and calculated violence. It has produced legendary fighters spread over multiple generations in multiple weight classes. It's not the flashiest style, but in the ring, it's one of the most unforgiving. If you want to dive deeper into the techniques and fighters who shape the sport, check out some of the other videos on the Pro Striking Patreon, or if you'd like to see an example of Japanese kickboxing at its best, check out the Ukyoza or tension breakdowns here on the YouTube channel. Pro Striking appreciates you more than a prime and Nesta who's throwing the classic head-body-leg combination. Us.